What you are about to watch is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute any type of advice. Always question the validity of what you see and what you hear. Viewer discretion is advised.
Boy, do I have a treat for you in this segment. Tyranny 230 will be very insightful, enraging, and eye-opening as well. We're going to talk about a topic that tyrants, heroes, and even anarchists love to the core: revolutions. The reason that heroes love revolutions is that revolutions force a complete change and shift of power. Anarchists love revolution because revolution tears down power and allows for a new structure of power. Tyrants love revolutions because they are a shift in power. The old tyrants get depleted from power so hard that they are unable to come back, which means if that a new tyrant plays their cards right and act like they are the new heroes, they will be the ones to rise in power. If you don't believe me, look into the revolution and restructure of Cuba and how Fidel Castro came to be in power. This is why you should never underestimate anyone, no matter how small they appear. Argentinian revolutionary Ernesto Guevara traveled to Mexico, where he convinced the university student Fidel Castro to take back his country by force through a revolutionary strategy. Ernesto was nothing more than the equivalent of a conspiracy theorist riding a motorcycle and carrying a backpack with essentials. He was the definition of a minimalist, but a well-educated one, since he knew Marxist ideology like the palm of his hand. Usually, we know how this sort of thing ends. Conspiracy theorists stirs up drama with powerful tyrant, and then conspiracy theorists is not with us anymore. Their failure serves as a great example for the masses for what not to do and who not to stand up to. However, this did not go like the typical outcome of a crazy conspiracy theorist. They actually managed to overthrow the tyrants and take back Cuba, with the Marxist ideologies of his good friend Ernesto, who was basically his right hand. Castro had every piece of the puzzle to now dominate Cuba, which he did. They restructured the entire military and justice system. Ernesto attempted to travel to instill another revolution, but this one did end like most of the conspiracy theorists end, and was with us no more. Castro quickly found out that the CIA pulled a fast one on Ernesto, and Castro's soul died that day. He gave into the power that was granted to him, and from there on, anyone who even dared to disagree with Castro's revolution became the target of incarceration and punishment. Some people who helped him carry his prior revolution were not in good terms with him, given that they were rotting in a dungeon for asking Castro to cite his sources. This serves as a great example that I'm trying to share with you. Revolutions restructure the opportunity of power. Pablo Escobar was another excellent example of how the entire country of Colombia shifted because of him. He had more power than the president of Colombia. Colombia had to settle to incarcerate him in his own golden prison, where he had access to 5-star restaurant food, beautiful women, and he probably even had his own personal trainers for whatever workouts he wanted to do. Some rumor that he used to play chess against the chief of police and one time even slapped him for trying to cheat. This is what power is able to achieve. We also have seen some crazy things like the Mexican cartels taking over Ecuador. That is a crazy shift in politics and how the rules of the country are to be followed. On a lower scale, we have seen how OpenAI is changing and will continue to change the rules of the game for academics, work, and even personal life. Some people who never had any possibility of gaining power will rise thanks to this technology. Those who allow themselves to fall behind will end up serving the master of confusion and conformity. Have you not noticed that lately the economy has taken an entire shift where the new rich are very different than the rich from the times of your parents? More and more people are harnessing the power of digital content profits because they understand how the workforce has shifted. Before you had to advertise on the yellow pages. Now you must use either Google Ads, social media, or be listed in directories to be found. You need a YouTube audience to be able to sell your content. The fake gurus have shown that even though they are selling garbage, their opportunities for power are shining quite high. However, their days are counted, because a Google search or a Trustpilot search will show how dysfunctional and useless they actually are. YouTube is also doing a great job at covering how their scams work. Those who fail to move forward with understanding technologies, their advantages and their pitfalls, will be the victims of grifters and the ones missing out on digital opportunities. This is why it's imperative to enroll in Freedom 320, because this course shows you how to look for the signs where things are shifting. It teaches you the strategies of how to become economically and socially skeptic and how to identify legitimate opportunities as well. We make no promises because we know that many people will ignore what we have to say or take no action, but the learning is as powerful as this set of courses that was taught by the University of Florida, where they teach you how to think for yourself. The set of courses was not expensive. It was close to $800, but what we have to teach you is less than half of that and touches only the most important aspects of the philosophies of intellectual awakening without having to worry about homework or getting a grade. Many are invited, but few will take advantage of this great opportunity. They rather save their money and remain in ignorance. Some believe that ignorance is a bliss, but what you don't know can actually hurt you. We also have a set of books that you can check out by visiting our website. One is free, while the other two, you can get access to them for $20 or higher donation. Alternatively, you can also donate so we can continue producing interesting content. Research is expensive, which reminds me that our sponsors at Awaken ABA are not expensive at all. They are in the business of licensing future consciousness leaders in the state of Oregon and now starting to take students from out of state. Visit their website, check out what they do, and see how the journey of consciousness as a licensed professional is going to be big. They are part of the revolution as much as we are in helping people shift thanks to awareness and consciousness. I know that many people will become enraged when they hear what we have to say about revolutions being opportunities for tyrants. This is true in the smaller of all scales as well. You wouldn't think that the company Apple is small scale, right? Yet Steve Jobs was a very intelligent individual but very hard to work with. Although I wouldn't say that he was an evil tyrant, he sure had the traits of one. He was known to rip others off and be vicious when it came to business. This is why when he was removed from being the CEO, no one in his board flinched about this decision. The new revolution placed Apple in a losing game, but Jobs went on and created something spectacular that was able to rival the work of Disney animation. Never in the history of entertainment had we seen such a revolutionary shift who placed Pixar to a new level of power. These disruptive technologies and opportunities are revolutions in themselves. You just don't know because you didn't care before to see it that way. I dare you to suspend judgment and think, for example, of Uber, how this application revolutionized rideshare for a fare and how that disrupted the taxi industry. New people who had no say in the game before earned quite a bit of power. Then with the Airbnb revolution, the hotel industry faced a new danger that they could have not imagined. They are now in the process of holding their own anti-Airbnb revolution, and given that the quality of Airbnb has been falling below standards, we're likely to see the hotels win that game. We have also seen the streaming revolution place streaming services under a great deal of power. We quickly saw video retail stores going from being king to go back, and a clear reshift of power taking place. We also saw how expedited home delivery goods managed to quickly dethrone retail stores who appeared to be unbeatable. Those were not able to come back. Not everyone is Steve Jobs, who is able to take back his throne and point at all the errors of Apple and get him back on track in the business that they are best at doing. Do you really think that this company is doing its best right now? They seem to rather have it stagnated since Jobs passed. Same as Pixar, now that Disney is in charge, and they have the Midas curse where everything that they touch turns into shit. Even revolutions like the woke movement are revolutions because if you look closer, politicians side up with people who think and behave in this way. They get behind them and say, "You go girl, I'm in day," just to get elected, see the polls rise up, and allow people to continue in division. No longer does logic prevail. If people want to be stupid, there is a tyrant supporting the stupidity, and let the stupid revolution rise at its finest. We have seen even riots being classified as peaceful protests. Then the news say, an officer's eye fell out of his skull during a peaceful protest. The roses must have been a bit sharp and heavy that day. Courts go as far as saying, believe all women because they are incapable of lying and their testimony alone becomes the evidence for conviction. No longer does evidence mean anything given that a gender seems to be born to not lie. All these changes are revolutions. Even Johnny Depp's trial was a revolution because for the first time in history of all dimensions, it was proven that men can be victims too. It reconciled the previously impossibility. It was as mind-bending as when humans discovered fire. Even delusions and lack of accountability are a revolution. If you don't believe me, watch the show Catfished on YouTube. The show is full of men and women, but mostly women who end up being scammed by some scammer claiming to be hot young man who somehow is into grannies. Not even cougars, but grannies. It does not occur to this woman that it is not normal for men to be attracted to women that old. They truly believe that age doesn't matter. Where did they get that delusion? The truth is that they never grew out of it. They were once in their mid 30s to early 40s who were strong, independent, did not need a man, and thought that they could get any man they wanted. They believed that their milkshake brought the boys to the yard, but then the milkshake spoiled, curd up, and went rancid. You think that I'm going to spare men? Let me let them have it too. I will tell you what's wrong with the guys in the show. They think that they can buy the affection and intimacy of a woman, which to a point is true, but not online. They truly fail to embody and accept the online revolution for what it was, with its good and ugly. Truth be told, if they were to seek for intimacy in exchange for cash, they will probably get it. They falsely think that everything in a woman can be purchased, but that in itself is ignorant. There are many women willing to give access to their bodies for the right price, but none will give their genuine affection no matter how much you have. This is why some women can be with some abusive, unemployed man who has nothing to offer, yet they remain loyal to this man, while a man who's willing to give him everything is perceived as repulsive. I will share with you the true catch-22 on this issue. The reason why some women think like that is that not all women think like that. It may appear that most women do, and it does because the majority of them have gone through something that led them to be at a level of emotional damage. Don't believe me? Then why is divorce nearly at 60% rate? This constitutes that more than half of the women in the dating market are damaged and will behave in a damaged way probably perpetually. This is not to disrespect women, but rather to tell the truth about a prevalent issue that is going on. A broken revolution where the damage will be great. A damaged revolution where many kids will grow up fatherless and many good fathers will be cut from the children's life. So where are all the good women? I'm not sure about all of them, but just like where most of the good men are, they are not available. This will sound a bit hateful to some of you, but just like a rock solid truth, if you think about it, a product or service that is scarce and highly on demand is just not found that often. Relationships are no different. They are the business of sustaining mutual closeness between two people. Good quality people are rarely single because, like a very great product, they are rarely on the shelf, while those who are not wanted because someone has already addressed successfully that they are the problem, they remain in the clearance shelf for a very long time. I know some people will not like these jokes, but it takes nothing from the truth. Why do you think so many people have to put themselves through affirmations such as I love myself, I'm perfect and settle for nothing, I am the king or queen, and all the narcissistic delusions that rob these people from the genuine opportunity of finding a kind and loving partner? They want someone who earns six figures, looks like a more alpha version than Superman, and sweeps them and her three kids by three different men off their feet. Usually that fantasy goes unfulfilled, and while they reject the older gentleman who works at the grocery store, which will probably have made a better partner and more suitable partner since he is more at her level, she refuses to see that way and ends up alone talking to some scammers online because he is using a picture of a guy that she really wishes she had. These delusions and the disruption that they bring are part of what forms as a revolution, which leave both losers and other empowered. The scammers win and the cat lady loses. Stubborn old man loses his money and the scammers spend it at Walmart. Men boycott marriage and women celebrate singlehood until loneliness sets in the later years. Men become incels and women go into the blue OF app. Every essence of disruption plays two or more roles, two or more sides that get affected. Sometimes one appears to be affected and the other benefited, but reality is that things can shift to a very different direction. It is clear if you look at the signs, but the majority do not. This is why I'm telling you that enrolling in Freedom 320 is a good opportunity to learn how to become aware and use disruptive shifts to your advantage. There's a reason why the people got wrong and they left some without a penny to their name. I'm talking about day trading. Just like multi-level marketing, people thought it would help them make a quick buck and that they were going to own part of the world. The confidence level rose through the roof until reality showed them through their bank account that they were losing it all. The reality is that both multi-level marketing and day trading can be very powerful means to pick up huge amounts of wealth if you know how to manipulate the markets. In multi-level marketing, You can make the most if you work as a motivator and writer who can move the crowds through their emotions and keep them engaged. It is not a new concept that multi-level marketing has two games being played, one where people recruit and one where people motivate. To be a motivational speaker, you must not only be great, but also have the connections to be placed in that position of power. Day trading works sort of the same way, but in a much more large and complicated scale. If you can fool the market into thinking that your stock is in high demand or that it will plummet, then you have all buying and selling power that you can ever wish for, and you should definitely get into it. People with this kind of power can orchestrate events that lead to people finding this deceiving information via news outlet, well-known blogs, influential article distributions, and social media influencers who can move masses. As you can probably imagine, this is not an easy or cheap task. The majority of us will probably move into other opportunities. Think about this. How easy was it to be a web designer back in 1995? Probably not very easy, since it wasn't very common, popular, and it required to write everything by coding. How much easier do you think it is now? Much easier. Some may argue that AI will run that industry, but I doubt it. I've seen the all AI developed websites and they're garbage, poorly composed, and not worth paying for. An expert web designer can leverage AI for most of the layout and then customize parts, images, and writing to fit the needs of the industry that he specializes in. If someone looks for a web designer, the worst they can do is hire someone from Fiverr, because this person will probably use AI to render a cheap and substandard website. The best that someone can do is hire a business expert who understands the business sector that they're building websites for. This person is sincere and charges even for the consultation alone, because the consultation will teach you if you are wasting your time, which in turn is a valuable service to pay for. This person may use tools to build layouts, plugins for replication, and will deliver it in a high quality, secure platform. I see people go the cheap and high maintenance requirement route just because the initial overhead expense were low. Yet where are they when all the articles about WordPress plugins being hacked show up on article after article? People tend to think cheap, and that can cost them majorly. This way of thinking and acting is a revolution. These designers oftentimes are not even developers, and yet they earn significant amounts of money right from home, because the work from home revolution has made its presence too. Now I hope you know where I'm going with this. I cannot stress enough to keep recommending you to enroll in Freedom 320. It doesn't affect me if you choose to keep doing what you're always doing, but we've made it our mission to bring change to you. Until next time.